So you've heard this expression that, you can't change a man and you can't change a woman. So it raises the question, is the problem in your relationship your expectation? When women start to yell and scream and become what we would say out of control because their voices is what they want to hear and they so dearly want to be heard. See, men, we shut that out. We can't hear that. All we hear is this. We see the mouth moving, but we can't process that fast. Remember, women, you are the multitaskers. So when you start throwing so much stuff at men, we can't process that information. And then it goes the same for the woman as well. So when the woman enters the relationship, and it's because of the things he initially said, see, now she needs the action. She wants the action to back it up. So is it true? Is the problem in your relationship your expectation? Now, it's quite interesting, the theory that we've heard, it's actually proven, so it's really a theorem now, that men are attracted by what we see, whereas women are generally attracted by what they hear. And these are the two things that cause us the most problems, because you have to graduate from that initial attraction. For example, if a man stays put at just focusing on a woman's beauty. Now, we're not talking about the man who likes to tell his woman every day, baby, you look good, you look beautiful. We're not talking about that. We're talking about his inner motivation. If the inner motivation doesn't develop and change and alternate and become something of a higher regard for this woman, then that expectation is going to ruin the relationship. Because she may not be exquisitely beautiful all the time, but in his eyes, she should be even more beautiful as he starts to realize her qualities. But if he's stuck on the physical beauty, she's going to get older. She's not going to be that 20-something, that 30-something-year-old. Eventually, one day, you're going to wake up to a 50, 60-year-old woman. And will you still love her as you did in the beginning? Well, if you allowed your mind to alternate, change, develop, and to look at the true person that she is, her qualities, you'll see her more beautiful than her physical appearance. That's simply how it works. And so it's true when it comes to a woman. The man said things that you like. Some women fall in love with men that they see on stage or that just do public speaking. They just become amazed at the quality of the words that they use and how their voice shines through with a whole bunch of great and wonderful ideas. And then when they get personal with the person and they get to know them, are the words, have they changed? Have you developed? Have you alternated? Have you progressed forward in your relationship? Have you start to see this person as something more than just a great sounding voice? Oh, I love how his voice makes me feel. It makes me quiver. It just makes me shake. I get all excited. I lose control. It's got to be something greater than this, because the true essence of a man is not in his voice. It's in his mindset. Now, I can speak from the point of view of a man because I'm a man. From a point of view of a woman, I'll just share things that I've learned from growing up, basically, in a house full of women, my mother and my two sisters. And I've learned a lot, but also learned that there's a lot of similarity between men and women. And I really don't like when people try to say, oh, you don't understand women because women are this way, or you don't understand men because men are this way. We're just people, folks. We're people with different initiatives, and there can be some women who are attracted by what they see in men. Many are. I have a friend, she's extremely beautiful, and she says she'll date, she's married, but she says she'll date a fat dude, a big old fat man. She says it's not about that, because she's matured in her own relationship. She did admit she loved the things that her now husband says to her. And so because she has progressed in a relationship, she sees the whole world of relationships differently. Now, it is true that beyond, you can bypass the voice, women, and men can bypass the look. And if you look at some people in society, you see they did that. The man can't speak and the women don't look so great. It just happens from time to time. And so in the progression of those relationships, you've seen some people just enter, let's say, if level one for a woman was the way what the man sound like, or the things he said, she might have skipped level 3, level 4, and just went to level 5. He's warm and concerned. He listens to her. So After she's had all these other experiences, she may develop into that as the initial interest for her. But even still, it doesn't matter where you start. If you start at a higher level, then you must move up a higher level in your relationship. So your expectations has to do with the way you think about the relationship. It's all about you in this particular case. So for me as a man, I meet a woman, I'm first going to be honest. I'm attracted by what I see. But beyond seeing what the woman looks like, there has to be some other things to hold my attention. Her kindness, her ability to want to do things for other people, which means me included, but mainly other people. And other people could even be, if she has children, her children. Other people can even be, how does she treat her family? How does she treat her mom? I've already learned in my experience that women who argue with their mothers and fuss at their mothers, in my experience, just don't make really good communicators in a relationship because they just fly off. But women who actually have the power of choosing to have good communication, they themselves would actually be great people to talk to. So then the man starts to enjoy listening to the woman. But when women start to yell and scream and become what we would say out of control because their voices is what they want to hear and they so dearly want to be heard. See, men, we shut that out. We can't hear that. All we hear is this. We see the mouth moving, but we can't process that fast. Remember, women, you are the multitaskers. So when you start throwing so much stuff at men, we can't process that information. And then it goes the same for the woman as well. So when the woman like enters the relationship, and it's because of the things he initially said, see, now she needs the action. She wants the action to back it up. You don't say you're a millionaire. You showed her that you're a millionaire. And I'm not jumped to money for this specific reason. It's about the action of having money. Like people who have money act and respond to life in a complete different way. It's just not a concern because they have it. So when you find a man who has those type of values, that he's become more than what he possesses, that becomes a very attractive man on the depth, on the deep inside of who he really is. But then going back to the relationship feature about what attracts me, like I said, I like a woman, or when it comes to how she treats the people that are important to her, that are around her. If she's treating her kids bad, she's gonna treat me bad. I already know it. She's gonna yell and scream. Why? Because she has no personal control over herself. But if she has control and she's cordial and she's kind and she, makes adjustments in her life to make herself a better person, that's wonderful. But she doesn't have to be perfect because guess what? I'm not perfect either. So you can't have an imperfect person and all of a sudden we meet a perfect person. Doesn't work that way because we're all a little imperfect. We all have our problems, but relationships are actually wonderful. So take some of the pressure off yourself. Allow yourself to evolve naturally into getting to know the person better. Know their history, know their story, but they've got to be willing to share their story. People who keep their stories closed in, they're hiding something. You know what they're hiding? Their identity. Because every experience that you and I have had in our life, we're the representation of that right now, right here, right now. So if we hide and don't share with our partner, our husband or our wife, the depths of who we are, our experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, the challenging, if we don't share these experiences with people, they never get to know who we really are. So the person that takes the time to tell you about themselves, how their relationships fail or how their relationships work, don't be upset if your spouse wants to talk to you about their ex-girlfriend or their ex-boyfriend. Don't be upset about that. Embrace it because now they're telling you who they really are. And when you listen as to how they said they responded to those things, have them tell you that same story again, because as that story comes out, guess what's going to happen? You're going to remember the details. And the truth always supersedes a lie because the truth stays consistent. So when you hear that story consistently, like, wow, this is really who they are. You may even invite them. Hey, honey, tell me that story again about the last time, what happened when that girl knocked you upside the head. Oh, the one when I knocked her jaw out. Or he might say, the one where I walked away. And then the next time he says, yeah, I walked away, but I turned around and came back and knocked the jaw. You didn't tell me that the first time. I mean, oh, it wasn't important. The whole point was that we're no longer together. See, now you know some depth of the story and what might be real and not real. So then if you're still confused, wait some time and get them to tell you that same story a third time. Now you get the balance of two. Did he knock her in the jaw or did he walk away? This is the type of man that you're going to get. So instead of ruining your relationship because your expectations are so high in the sky, take some time and get to know the person's history. And you can do this before you get married to them. You do this in your courting stage. You do this in the time when you're able to spend that telephone communication. You know, you don't have to talk about your shopping sprees. You don't have to talk about the movie, the greatest movie you saw. I mean, you can. I'm just saying, if you want to get to know a person, talk to the person about their selection of movies. That will tell you a lot about a person's mindset. Talk to a person about what they like to do with themselves when they're alone. How do they spend their free time? How do they enjoy when they're not around other people? What do they do by themselves? Because ultimately, that's what they will be doing with you. If they like to read, guess what? You've got a reader. If you like to read and somebody says, I like to read in my spare time, guess what? That means they can enjoy you in silence. And that is an amazing thing, to be in love with someone and be side by side with them and neither of you utter a word. You just sit there and do whatever it is that you're doing, and you're having a great time doing it. That is what we call love and the depth of love. So we hope these ideas have actually opened your mind up. Just explore, get to know more, get involved in the person's life, welcome them into your life. Tell the stories. The stories that you tell will actually protect your relationship. So again, don't let your expectations in a relationship be the reason why your relationship fails. If you empower yourself with enough knowledge about this individual, then the two of you will be happy for a very long time. And that's what we hope. So listen, we thank you for the time that you've given us today. We hope you found this video enjoyable. Please don't forget to like and share and send this video out to as many of your friends as possible, because we know a lot of people are traumatized in their relationships. And that's what we're going to keep discussing. So listen, I thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video.